Yo, what's up, friends and family? It's Jay Lamont of Nappy Soul Productions. We going live for the very first time here on YouTube, Nappy Soul Television, and also you guys can usually listen to me on Tuesdays on your radio station. Actually, the Bronx 1077, the Bronx 1077.com with the Rider University. Yeah. We are here live for the very first time on YouTube, and right now this is just a production session for me right now, and I'm working on production for my man Geno Lucc project. Mimosas at 2. He is a Florida-based artist who wants a hip hop, pretty much a hip hop sample-based '90s style project of his own, and we're working on getting that done. And I was just going through a few samples right now, and really the vibe I'm really trying to capture. And this one is more so obviously like that older style of production in terms of, I would say, more like a Mad Lib, more like a Mad Lib lo-fi type of sound in terms of the sound aesthetic. But obviously it's gonna be around that pocket, because that's one of the pretty much types of tracks he really wanted. And so I found this sample that I'm going through right now. Let me play a little something for y'all. Let me know if y'all can hear this. I can't play too much on YouTube. All right, that's enough. We don't want to play too much of the sample, but yeah, we got it over here in the Ableton, and we get ready to chop it up right now. For this session, I'm gonna be using Serato sample. This has always been one of my go-to samplers to use. Pardon me if you can't hear me when I go over to the push, because everything over here is MIDI controllers versus everything on the actual desk in front of me being samplers. So yeah, but we're just gonna get ready to chop this up. I'm gonna keep it at a BPM. I'm probably around 81, because that's definitely like one of the I guess one of the slower tempos, especially when you're falling into like that new Griselda tempo range. They're falling into like the 70 BPM to 80 BPM range. You go to like that 81 BPM range, that's perfect for guys like let's say if you want to capture, obviously that's still like a Griselda if you think about modern day, but obviously I would say that falls into a pocket of more like an Apollo Brown, who is also really great at that Griselda lo-fi, no drums type of style in terms of production. I would say definitely check out Anchovies, his album with Planet Age, if you enjoy that style. But yeah, we got it over here. We're about to get ready to chop it on the push right now, y'all. Let me arm this track first. Hopefully y'all can hear it. Let me know if y'all can or not. First time, so I'm really trying to get this audio down. Let me see in OBS if it's translating over.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
These are like my first two chops right there.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
But we gonna search for some more chops going forward. Oh, and the samples we're using, they're gonna be coming from tracklib.com. If you guys never heard of Tracklib, I can actually show you a little something right now, real quick. So the samples we're gonna be using for the projects that we're gonna be doing that are sample based at Nappy Soul Productions for people in the future that I might be working with or whatever. We're gonna be using tracklib.com for all our samples in the future. And usually we're gonna be hunting in that category C range, because you get to clear your samples for only $50. And for somebody like me. So usually when you go on TrackLib, you gotta pay for monthly subscriptions to download a certain number of tracks. But once you do sample clearance, that's when you have to pay either the $50 for the licensing right here, 500 for category B, and then 1500 for category A. We ain't got it like that though. But if you use 2 seconds of a sample, it's 2%. 15%, they take 10% of profit, and 60 seconds they take 20%. But yeah, it's still the best way for me to, and best and cheapest way for me to do what I love to do with samples. So we got to do it. But let's go through this sample and chop it up a little more real quick, y'all.
I beg you for your love. I beg you, love, 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 love. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, love, love, oh.
So usually the way I usually chop up samples in a good way for like you guys to really take references. Obviously when you get some really good chops, obviously whatever melodically pleases your ears, whether it be a vocal chop, any melodic content surrounding that vocal chop, or just a single like instrument vocal chop. Usually I follow a formula called like the motif. So basically at the start of my sequences, pretty much the motif, it has this core idea, you know what I'm saying? So this one chop is like the same idea that's going to be repeating within the musical phrase. And usually motifs is like what a bunch of songs actually use and display in like music theory and stuff. I have to find a way to better explain it, but yeah, y'all know what I'm saying. Eventually in the future we're gonna be creating courses and y'all gonna get the lingo. But yeah, let's just keep on going and chopping up this record.
All the way, all the way home, all the way home, home. I beg you, 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 love, I beg you.
And so basically when I say that motif, so basically the chop that I'm choosing as like this motif idea, what I'm saying is that begged you part, that begged you. Let me get my voice all high pitched. Let me chill. But that
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
you see what I'm saying? So basically the method I'm really trying to use, like especially when it comes to chopping on like SPs and when I say that Mad Lib style, you gotta realize that the SP303 and the SP405 have very limited sample times. And so basically what a technique that they really display, especially on like albums like Mad Villainy, you micro chop. So you have very little time, so you have all these different micro chops. You only have like a 8 actually on the SP303, but it's maybe just for a few seconds, and they use this pretty much motif type style in order to really translate and chop the sample, and you know what I'm saying. So like I said, the motif is just going to be this one constant idea, and on the SP303 it has limited sample time, so you're going to have the slightest little smallest micro chops. And so like I said, I'm going to use the motif for this begged you part.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
You see what I'm saying? And that's how you really can create like short sequences. And another thing that I used to do when I first started was I would do like 4-bar sequences and just build off of those, because you got to think hip hop is built off of even number of bars. You know what I'm saying? 16 bars for your verses, and then 8 bars for your actual choruses. Now, when you talk about having an odd number of loops, those are for more like the early 90s, like guys like Jay Dilla, and even groups like A Tribe Called Quest would have odd number bars, like having like a 3-bar loop or a 7-bar loop. But that'll all be revealed in the future. But like we said, it's short, precise chops. You know what I'm saying? And it's repeated motif type phrases when you're trying to mimic the workflow of a SP303. And so, yeah. So let's keep on working on chopping up this record. But since the fact that we have a Serato sample, obviously we are not limited to eight chops, but we still gonna apply the principle to Serato sample in the shortness of the chops that we use. And we ain't gonna just be, you know what I'm saying, having a sample running out completely. No, you gotta actually make it sound like it's being chopped. You know what I'm saying?
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
So like the very first sequence I would probably build was just that one. It's three the motif is repeated 3 times, but then this one offsets. It offsets
I beg you, I beg you.
You see in the bass, and you hear that boom, 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 boom. Then it goes dun, dun. So instead, you use this last chop to fill that space before you get back to the second chop. But it's still the same motif idea. You know what I'm saying? So I'll play it for you one more time just so you get the concept.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
And it creates just the slightest bit of variation, but obviously once we build more chops, then you're gonna offset that. But even something short like that will become beats. You know what I'm saying? Even in the modern day, like Griselda style, sometimes they only have 1-bar loops, 2-bar loops going. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the drum ideas don't even. But the thing is, it's tailor made for a rapper. Obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's, say you got a 2 to 4-bar loop right in a song. The only thing that would sometimes switch up is like the 4th bar. Maybe a 4th bar is switching. You know what I'm saying? But it's still the same 4-bar loop. And then maybe at one, that's how I usually structure and build my songs, especially in Ableton's session view. I get a 4-bar loop here. I bring down that 4-bar loop, and I treat it like the motif, like it's the one thing that's repeating. Then I create that variation in the third or fourth bar of that 4-bar loop, and then you got an 8-bar loop. You see what I'm saying? And that's how you build these ideas. And that's pretty much the same principle that any sample chopper can really apply on any machine, no matter the limitation. But you learn that technique through having limited machines like this. We gonna keep on chopping up this record though.
All the way home, home, all the way home, home. If I begged you, if I begged you, if I begged you, home, all. If I begged you, all the way home. If I begged you, if I begged you. If I begged you home, if I begged you.
And right now I'm just trying to find just a short sequence that I can have with just these short little chops that I have already, because you can actually just build something off of that.
Oh, home, home. What would you let me know? What would if I begged you? If I begged you?
All right, now we're gonna go with the metronome and see, make sure everything's in time. Real quick.
If I begged you, if I begged you.
Honestly, a lot of old school sample chops was definitely using just pads and just sequencing off of hardware sequencers. Me myself, I usually like sequencing on an actual on the MIDI map, you know what I'm saying, the scale map. So that's just what I'm gonna do right now. In Ableton, you can create these clips. Oh, real quick. There you go. So now we're in this view. Let me actually switch over to a different view for you guys real quick so you can see right here. So right here, this is how I usually go about sequencing mine. I always usually just chop my samples and then I'll just use the grid right here.
Love,
So we said the motif is right here. Hold on. Make sure Serato's on playthrough.
if I begged you, 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 if I begged.
Let me tighten up on these chops real quick first.
If I begged you, if I begged you, if I begged you, if I begged you, if I begged you.
And so we're gonna repeat that about 3 times in this sequence.
If I begged you, for if I begged. If I begged you, if I begged, if I begged you, if I begged.
Oh, I like that pitch. We accidentally that was an accident. It actually pitched one of the chops, but I think we're gonna keep it like that.
If I begged you, for your.
And so we have that motif repeating throughout this whole 4 bar loop, but at the end right here we're gonna add in that one chop.
All the way. I beg you. 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 I beg you.
And I think that's good, a good starting 4 bar loop right there. And usually I have several drum tools that I usually use. One of my favorites now is actually Atlas. I don't know if you guys know anything about this plugin, but it's amazing in terms of the sequencer on this thing is ridiculous. And if you're a hip hop head, you would definitely love this. Usually I go about using packs, but I'm really trying to get out of that and start using and building my own packs. You know what I'm saying? Also, let me know if y'all can actually hear me. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. So, yeah, let me know. I don't know if this stream could be one of the best or worst at the same time. I mean, this is my very first time, so hopefully y'all enjoying out there. Yeah, but we gonna go ahead into this. So the reason why Atlas is such a just a beautiful plugin is because the sequencer on it is second to none. You know what I'm saying? Because you can actually apply grooves to each single sound itself, while also applying a collective groove at the end of everything. So usually I'll use the vintage 16 here on like kicks and all that, because that's pretty much that's MPC swing. If you know, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, the MPC swing, and this one it usually goes. It has the formula AB or AAAB. So pretty much you have 2 bar sequences, A and a B, and obviously you know what I'm saying. If you play A, then it goes B, so it's 4 bar. Then it goes 8 bars, but it'll go AAAB. No, I'm pretty sure you guys get that, but yeah. So usually what I do is a technique I learned from Kev Brown is before you officially do drums, like I usually always chop the sample first. Always chop the sample. But usually what Kev Brown does is he'll lay down the very first initial kick and then the snare on a 2 and a 4. So you have that at least going, and then you can chop around that and then build the drum sequence supporting the sample. But for now, we gonna go to a specific kit that I like using. Well, I got a couple of different hip hop kits that I like using, but usually I stick with the Booney Mayfield kit. But you can definitely expect these drums are definitely going to be changed by the time this actual end product is done, because I'm gonna make sure I start using my own original drums. But till then, let's just use this right here. So we're gonna just play this sequence along with the drum sequence now and see how it just sounds.
I beg you. 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 I beg. I beg. I beg you. 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 I beg you.
I think I need to tighten up on that very first chop. That very first chop needs to be tightened up on. Other than that, the sequence right now sounds all right to me. So let me go ahead and tighten up that very first chop, and then we're gonna play it back with the drums.
I beg you. I beg you. I beg you.
We're gonna just cut it to the begged you part, and maybe that'll make it sound a little better.
I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you.
Oh, another thing is when you actually have those parts, so you know how it says that I begged you. So instead, since I just cut the chop a little shorter and it just says begged you, what we can do is just take that I begged you part and still also have the begged you part, and then we'll start with the I begged you at the very start of the sequence, but in between the sequence have it say begged you in order to create that variation. That's another thing that you can do with vocal samples. You want to chop and shorten certain phrases and put those in the middle of the actual loop that you build. So that's what we actually about to do right now, because that actually sounded really good. So I'm gonna go back and get this back on the original chop right there, and we're gonna just add a chop right there.
I beg you. I beg you.
But you see how it sounds so late, where it's just that I begged you part starting, but it's a good starter. But in the middle part, we're gonna just put that begged you, and it's gonna sound a lot better. So we're gonna get ready to do that right now.
I beg you, love. Oh, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, love. Oh, I beg you.
All right, now let's hear how it sounds.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
But then it still sounds just slightly late. You gotta tighten up on some of the chops, especially that initial chop, and also it could also be a tempo problem and just the drum selection too. These are like usually things that I'm always assessing in the middle of like really making a beat, cause just the textures of certain drums and wherever the frequency of the drum actually dominates within the mix can also, you know what I'm saying, affect how your beat sounds too. So we're gonna go and see how we can fix either that very first sample chop, maybe
I beg you.
maybe we need to fix that and like make it a little shorter initially. Maybe the phrasing will sound better. Let me see if I shorten them right here.
I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you.
See, and that sounds so much better right there when we actually shorten that step up on that I begged you part. But I'm gonna see if I can actually lengthen it just a little bit more and see how that sounds.
I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you.
Now on this second part, I'm hearing just a slight problem in terms of maybe I will have to lengthen that or cut it short a little bit. Well, we're gonna see how we're gonna fix that real quick.
I beg you. 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 I beg you.
Let me know in the comment section if y'all can hear me, by the way. Because this is my very first live, and you know what I'm saying, in terms of sound. Can y'all actually hear this? Let me know if the sound is good or not. So, you know what I'm saying, and can y'all hear me on the microphone or anything like that? If you can't, so I can turn it up, let me know. And also, can y'all hear the audio from the DAW itself, too? Hopefully, y'all doing well out there. But and if you just now joining, you wondering what this live is about. This is just production for my man Geno Luc's project Mimosas at 2. And like I said, stylistically, I'm more so going for more so like that grittier style of a like Mad Lib, MF Doom, Mad Villainy type, but also still like a modern day Griselda type vibe. If you into that, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, in terms of the drums, these drums are gonna be switched by the end. But we only gonna be live for about an hour. But hopefully y'all doing well out there. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. And you know what I'm saying. So we got our very first 4-bar loop, and now I'm about to go in and see about building a second 4-bar loop and seeing what we can do in terms of transitions. Because like the way I go about it is I build that very first initial 4-bar loop that is gonna pretty much act as like that motif, that phrase that's steady repeating. But then I create another 4-bar loop that can be a variation to it. Then you got 8 bars, and then if you want to do another 4 bars, then you can pretty much build your verse section, and then you can go and build a chorus section with another part of the sample. That's usually how I work. But I'm gonna go and chop some more of this sample up and see where we can do more for this building up this loop.
All the way, all I begged you, I begged you, I begged you, oh, I begged.
Okay, we're gonna add that last one, that last.
Oh, I begged you, I begged you, I begged you, oh, I begged you, all I begged you, all the way home. I begged you, I begged you, all the way home.
So I think I like that. So that's pretty much how I'm gonna build. Pretty much at least the verse section is gonna go that if I begged you, then I beg you, then you know what I'm saying. But then and then we're gonna add in that doom doom doom, and then it goes into like I begged you all the way home, and then I'm gonna find a way to transition it into the chorus as pretty much a chorus sequence. But the reason, like I said, I like using the grid is because once I have my initial idea already down, you see what I'm saying, and I just move over to the next clip. All I have to do is move separate chops around in order for me to create the variation that I want. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But now that I actually chopped that very first initial sound that I begged you, and it actually falls in the right timing, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna let that repeat throughout more of the initial like start, but I'm gonna use that begged you part as a variation that goes later into the full 16 bar sequence itself. But for now, let me. So I'm gonna repeat that mochi 3 times, but then it's gonna switch off into just that last part now. This is just me still just messing with the very first initial 4-bar loop, only because I'm starting to notice more things. You know, usually as I chop up the sample and I actually fix the points in terms of the sample chops itself and edit them, then I make split decisions. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna carry over into the second part of the 4-bar loop, so we can get an 8-bar loop out of this real quick. I begged you for just found it right there.
I beg you, beg you, beg you, oh, beg you, I beg you.
And now we're gonna play it back, and you're gonna hear, okay, we got a decent like 8-bar loop now. But like I said, now that you formulate a 4-bar loop and turn it to an 8-bar loop, now you're gonna take, I guess, this second part and use that as a motif for that second half of the full 16-bar loop and create that variation. And out of 4-bar clips, you automatically got a 16-bar verse, pretty much right there. That's literally pretty much like the formula that I use. But yeah, well, let's keep on going. But we're gonna play it back as an 8-bar loop, and y'all gonna hear our connects.
I beg you, 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 oh, I beg you.
And that's the 8-bar loop right there. Now we have to get another variation that pretty much leads into that all, if I begged you all the way home, which is going to pretty much be the end part. So even right now, I can just take, like I said, this second 4-bar loop and then just create the variation, and that can become a 16-bar loop. So, but I'm gonna show you I can show you better than I can tell you. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We're gonna copy that sequence like we just did right here.
I beg you all the way. I beg you, oh, I beg you all the way home. I beg you all the way.
So we're gonna go to that.
I beg you, I beg love all the way.
Let's see if that lines it up right there. Hold on.
I beg you all the way. I beg you all the way. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, oh, I beg you all the way. I beg you.
Oh, okay. Now let's see.
Oh, I beg you for.
And so now what I did for this actual last part, I went back pretty much to the pretty much the motif I did in the very first 4-bar loop, but applied just the one chop in the one phrase in the actual second sequence, and brought it back to this sequence and coming in the ending instead. So let's see how this sounds as a 16-bar loop. See if this is solid real quick. Actually, I'm gonna play this last 4-bar loop back.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you all the way. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you all the way.
All right, now we're gonna play it back as a 16-bar loop and see how solid this is.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you,
Oh damn, my bad.
I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, oh, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
and see pretty much something like that will pretty much become your 16 bar loop for your verse section. But like I said, the reason why I'm trying to, the reason why I'm trying to keep the chops so limited is so we can actually really like I said, emulate that SP 303. Because you know what I'm saying? Without the actual memory card in this, the most chops you can have is just 16 chops. But the thing is, it's going to be short and precise chops. That's pretty much. But the thing is about um, the reason why I love Serato samples so much, even though you get 32 chops, you can affect the pitch and the actual time stretch algorithm separately. Now in the SP303, you use the pitch in there, then it's a really trash pitch in both the SP404 and the SP303. But in terms of when you time stretch, usually it won't affect the pitch, and when you pitch, it won't affect the time stretch. Now in other sample machines like the MPC, when you affect the pitch, it affects the time stretch, because the higher the pitch, the faster it's going to go. You slow down the pitch, the slower it's going to go. That's like a technique Kanye used. A lot of those old soul samples, he speed up, so it has that real chipmunk effect. But with this, you can get that chipmunk effect, but get it locked in a certain BPM that you want instead. But yeah. So now I'm gonna try and find some chops for maybe a chorus section, because I like this idea so far. I'm probably gonna like switch it up a little bit and do a little. But the thing is, for like I said, for a track like this, variation. I know a lot of people want variation, but a lot of this production back in the day was simple, and it was repeated like loops. Some DJ Premier stuff was literally just like 2 4-bar loops. But the thing is, the artist helped. And when you're producing for hip hop music, it's for the artist. You know what I'm saying? And it's for them to fill a pocket and for like that mad villainy type style. It wasn't the most, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the most like I guess variation filled production. I mean, it had some variation, but usually it was simple, precise, and it was made tailor made for MF Doom to go on there, tell his stories, and spit some dope rhymes over just the dope aesthetic and just the effects that the SP303 actually applies to your tracks is amazing. And I think that's actually what we're about to get into for this last part. But first, let me find some more drums that I like. Cause right now it's just and they ain't even got no swing or nothing. But we're gonna apply just a little bit of that MPC vintage swing in the kicks at least. But and I'm actually gonna solo. I'm a solo the drum. I'm gonna solo these drums real quick. Actually, turn the sample. And I'm probably gonna add in some hi-hats or maybe some even like shakers. Um, One thing about Madlib used just a litany of percussion, because Madlib is even a jazz genius himself. He used like jazz brushes. You wouldn't be surprised to hear shakers or any other type of percussive like element in his production. You know what I'm saying? And his sound was just like I said, it's in the name, madness. It's just mad. But let me see about this hi-hats. See. Let me see about adding in some hi-hats real quick. Now, a lot of my earlier production when I first was starting off, I used a lot more. It was a lot more me programming stuff, but as I got to like actually using step sequencers like this and all that, and then applying grooves and all that stuff. I mean, part of that kind of went out the window. I mean, I still do from time to time, but this is usually what I do. That it saves a lot of time for me to like real be a lot quicker in terms of getting production done. Right here, we're gonna apply the 7/4 swing. This is that pretty much that vintage Dilla swing where it's right there. But we're gonna hear how these drums sound now. Let's see how the sample sounds with.
Thank you all the way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all the way. Thank you.
I think now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually route the audio out to the SPs real quick, so you guys can pretty much hear the effect of the vinyl sim on the SP 303. So the SP 303's vinyl sim is pretty much what made a lot of that older lo-fi, you know what I'm saying, stuff, and even that Mad Villainy, MF Doom, J Dilla, and all that stuff. Just really that pumping effect and the kick, and giving you just that buttery low end. Even newer guys like I would say Lean Lizzy is crazy on the SP. I usually use it as pretty much like a sound effects board. You know what I'm saying? But let me pull into it right now. We're gonna go to audio effects. Actually, let me pull over to the other screen so y'all can actually see what I'm doing real quick. So over here, we're gonna pull in the effect. So you go to audio effects right here. Should be external in utilities. Get that on put that on our master. And we want to put it on the production window, because if I put it on the master, then y'all would have heard the pumping effect even on my voice. We do not want that. So let's make sure it's actually going out to the SP clearly. All right, it's going out to the SPs. First, I gotta set up the audio so you guys can actually hear it within Ableton real quick. Let me do that. My bad on that, y'all. I actually gotta figure out how to set that up properly, because it's not actually coming out of the audio, and I don't want to like blow up these speakers. But we coming up on the last 10 minutes. Let me see what else I can do instead. Go back to this view. Oh man. Oh, actually, I'm probably get ready to end the stream here, but yeah, if you hear, I mean, I know I see I only have like one viewer or two people tapping in. Like I said, man, if you got any questions or any comments during the stream, man, go ahead and leave them. Like, comment, subscribe, support the content, please. I mean, Hopefully this was informative. If you go back, I mean, I feel like it's some definitely a little bit of gems in terms of like workflow and some things you can definitely learn. But in the future, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to actually um, doing courses on pretty much this, but this is just the very first day, very first time on YouTube. Hopefully y'all doing well out there, and I thank y'all for actually showing up here in Nappy Soul Television with me. But we're gonna actually cut this one short. Peace, love, and light to y'all friends and family. Peace, love, and light to one viewer here. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, man. Peace, love, and light to y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed Nappy Soul